what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back here at home. It seems that my home is usually up about 30,000 feet in the air inside an airplane, but we happen to be home, and it's good because Nissan just unveiled some surprising information. We are here to talk about the first ever 2025 Nissan Rogue Rock Creek edition. And it's fascinating because it may not seem like a big deal, but that compact crossover SUV segment is literally on fire. And now we're talking about making the Rogue more off-road worthy. So without further ado, let's talk about, is this new Rogue Rock Creek edition as good as, say, a Toyota RAV4 TRD off-road? Let's dive in and find out. And there it is. Now, the reason why I say this is shocking is because if you remember, just back in November, we were at SEMA and I brought you that footage of the Nissan Rogue Nismo edition. Now, I'm sort of glad that they didn't do a Nismo edition. I feel like Nismo, which stands for Nissan Motorsports, gets thrown around way too much. I mean, for God's sakes, Nissan put it on a Leaf, a Nissan Leaf Nismo. So I'm glad they didn't go that direction. I'm glad that they're expanding on the Rock Creek edition. First seen on the Pathfinder. You could still get it on the current gen Pathfinder, and it's actually a pretty good product in a package that brings a lot of value with style and for those who want to go off the beaten path. And now we see it in the compact size Rogue. I'll be honest, right off the bat, it makes the Rogue look more aggressive. I love what they've done to the front end of the vehicle, and those are things that, like I said, if you watch my SEMA review of the Rogue Nismo, you see a lot of those styling cues. Well, first off, you're going to see this really cool color. It's called Baja Storm, and there's going to be 3 colors that are available on the Rock Creek. I would go Baja Storm. That just screams, hey, I'm off-road worthy, I have some off-road capability, and look at me type of thing without being too obnoxious. So you have Baja Storm, there's Everest White, and Super Black. So they're keeping it simple, just 3 color options. Now, what's great about it is you're gonna get a little bit more ground clearance. So this isn't something like they're just putting badges on it. You're gonna get a little bit more ground clearance, about 1.5 inches. You'll notice some nice red, bright red accents up front. And that is good because, like I said, you have the availability of bringing some of these color cues into the vehicle. So I like the bright red accents at the front on those Rock Creek specific wheels. Really good looking wheel. It's a satin black finish, 17-inch wheel, and the best part is they're wrapped in those Falcon Wild Peak off-road tires. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what are the size of those tires? 235 on the width and a 65 series sidewall. So beefy sidewall with, of course, that protection on the sidewall to avoid getting a puncture. You'll notice that they took a little bit of design cue from the bigger brother, from the Nissan Pathfinder, with those simulated indentations. I know it, on the Pathfinder, it was supposed to tie in the original Pathfinder from the 80s when it actually had holes cut into the hood, in the front of the hood, those 3 holes. They kind of did the simulated deal. And even though it's not functional, it did give it that Pathfinder quality to it. I think I'm liking it on the front of the Rogue. Let me know in the comment section if you're digging those indentations on the outside of the Rogue at the front. Now, on the inside, you're going to get actually special interior. So not only are you getting the red accents on the exterior, it's on the lower bumper, it's on the wheels, there's other parts of the vehicle where you have these red accents, but you're also getting red brought into the interior through the stitching, also with the special seats. So those seats that you see in this vehicle are actually water repellent synthetic leather. So it's not real leather, and I'm okay with that. We could save a couple cals here and there. this is water repellent. So think about it. You're out camping, you get wet. You're in the kayak, you get wet. You get into your Rock Creek edition, you don't have to ruin the interior. And I love the way they did the Rock Creek embroidery in the back of the seat. And what they call the red is not just red, of course, it's called lava red. So lava red stitching, embroidery, and those accents. Now up top on the roof is a really, really wild, cool looking, very usable roof rack system. So not just your simple roof rails with some crossbars, you'll notice that that has a solid tie-in all the way around the back of this vehicle. So that's going to give you more capability of putting things up top. You'll see those simulated, see how they highlight them by silver across the top of the grill there? I don't know, it just has this attitude that's really, really working. There's that roof rack system I was telling you about. Let's talk about technology, because there's some pretty interesting technology that's been added. Pro Pilot Assist 2.1. So if you don't know what that is hands-free autonomous driving on the highway. So this is for first time in a Rogue. It's updated and it's full autonomous hands-free driving. Another thing that I think is going to be really important with this being a Rock Creek edition, making it more off-road worthy. Of course, it has all-wheel drive. Rock Creek editions come all-wheel drive only, is that you're going to have this new 360-degree view camera action. So up front, it's 180 degrees, and you could actually see through the hood and the engine compartment so that you could see what's in front of you. So if you're going to go off the beaten path, which is what this Rogue Rock Creek edition is about, you'll be able to have that technology to be able to look out for big rocks, sharp rocks, pieces of wood that have fallen off a tree, maybe something metal somebody dropped and left there. But this is what's going to make driving the Rock Creek edition more enjoyable for you. It does have an 8-inch infotainment system, so you are getting the smaller infotainment system. The optional top trims get the 12.3 inch, which I don't know. I feel like the 8-inch system is enough, but if you really need 12.3 inches, you're not going to be able to do it in a Rock Creek edition. Looking at the front, of course, the forward-facing camera, that great-looking Nissan badge, a little bit of gloss black, a little bit of flat black, but it's the lower two corners where it's all blacked out. I really, really think that sets it off. Now, engine, as you can see, it's still the VC turbo. Remember, VC stands for variable compression turbo. It's a 1.5 liter inline 3. So you're still getting the same horsepower, and the big zonk for me, besides the CVT, of course, and remember, Nissan calls it the Xtronic CVT. Besides the CVT, it doesn't have any extra horsepower. So if you remember, the Pathfinder Rock Creek edition actually gets you a little bit more horsepower. This does not, unfortunately. So you're still looking at 201 horsepower, 225 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you compare that to the Toyota RAV4 TRD Off-Road, that vehicle has about the same amount of horsepower. So it's pretty even. The RAV4, you do get an 8-speed automatic. So something to think about. And it is a naturally aspirated inline 4, not a turbocharged power plant. Another thing is with the RAV4 TRD Off-Road is that you do get off-road tires, of course, a little bit extra ground clearance and some special touches on the interior. So it really is going to come down to this having more ground clearance. This is actually going to have more ground clearance than the RAV4 TRD Off-Road. And to be honest with you, in the compact crossover segment, I mean, you could go Tucson XRT, but I don't know. There's just something about the Tucson that doesn't do it for me. Kia Sportage, of course, you could go. Mazda does not have, unless you go CX-50 Meridian Edition, they don't have a more standard compact size like a CX-5 Off-Road Edition. But I think if it's my money, I think at the end of the day, I would probably go CX-50 Meridian Edition just because I really like that vehicle. The platform is great. You get the great Mazda driving experience. But with this Nissan Rogue Rock Creek edition, you are getting some special accessories like that roof rack system, which I think is going to pay big dividends. You're also getting, of course, the technology. And that's something that, remember, Toyota, Mazda, Hyundai, Kia, they don't have any autonomous hands-free driving technology currently available in their vehicles. So something to really take into consideration. Obviously, up front, you're getting full LED lighting. I've always felt that Rogue interiors, I love the front of it. I don't mean to interrupt myself here, but I love the front of it. Those lower two corners just set it off. I wish that it actually had instead of just those bright red accents, I think I'm going to zonk it for not having any kind of recovery tow hooks. So that's another thing. If you're going to go off-roading, it's always nice to have those in case you get stuck, or if you're trying to help somebody else out that gets stuck. But I think with this vehicle, like you see in this video, the couple is camping, the couple is going canoeing. They're not going rock crawling out in Hell's Revenge in Moab. I think if you try to do that, you're going to get stuck out there, and that might be the last that we ever see of you. Nice to see on the Rogue, the hands-free. You got your hands full. Maybe you got some lumber that you chopped down and chopped up for the fire. You could have that in your arms, and you kick out your foot, and the rear tailgate opens up. So you got that hands-free operation. I think the wheels are fantastic. Those Falcon tires are just off-road-esque enough to where it's going to give you the capability, but it's not going to create too much road noise. But like I said, I think the big nail in the coffin is the CVT. It would be nice if Nissan could take the 9-speed automatic from the Pathfinder and bring it into the Nissan Rogue. You know, the only other vehicles that have a CVT in this compact segment pretty much is, of course, Subaru. And you look at the Forester, which they have a Wilderness edition of the Forester. Or if you're thinking about CVT, Honda. But Honda does not have a Trail Sport edition of the CRV. It's going to be interesting to see now that you got Subaru with their Wilderness edition, Tucson XRT Off-Road edition, Mazda with the CX-50 Meridian edition. Will Honda follow suit and bring a Trail Sport edition to the interior? Remember, another thing I want to point out with this Rogue is that it has Lori's favorite seats. It's the zero gravity seats developed with Nissan and NASA. And you know, if you're going off the beaten path, what better way to do it than just like the astronauts when they're in zero gravity, and you're going to be nice and comfy in the seat. And with the lava red stitching and the waterproof material, I think it really pops nicely. But like I said, I was just glad to be here to bring this to you. I think the last thing to really point out is that this has full Google built in. So you're getting the Google Maps, the Google Assistant, and all the other technology. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, what about price? No pricing is available yet. If I was to guesstimate, which is a total guess, I'm going to say this vehicle is probably going to be right around $38,000. That's going to be my guess based off of you're getting the smaller infotainment system. You're not getting the full 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. Those are some things that they're cutting out to bring you some of the things that they're adding in. But we'll have to wait and see. I hope that I will be bringing this to you in the flesh when we do the Miami Auto Show in a few months. But let me know down in the comment section, what's your thought on this Nissan Rogue Rock Creek Edition? Are you digging it, or are you going to take your money somewhere else? Maybe, like I said, Subaru with the Forester Wilderness, or Toyota with the TRD. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you're a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rights family. Of course, we need to thank Lori and Oscar setting up the office. Oscar's being so good, not whining, not barking, just holding the camera steady. You're doing a great job, Oscar, holding this camera steady while we're in the official Raiti's Rides office. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.